All right, so let's look at the thyroid medications and some of the supplements that we use to treat thyroid conditions, not to support or preventative maintenance. There's loads of those, but like some of those odd alternative ones. But let's start with the main primary care, most basic thyroid medication. That's the one I take, levothyroxine, also called Synthroid. That is a synthetic T4 supplement, okay? So I'm basically taking supplementary thyroid hormone, all right? But only T4, not T3. There's two kinds of active thyroid hormone, T4 and T3. Now, okay, here's my story about T3. I decided I was gonna try T3 medication at one point in my life. My medical doctor's pretty cool. I'm very lucky. And he's secure enough in himself to explore things and kind of learn as he goes, which is wonderful because so he and I have had some really great conversations over the years and we've brainstormed together. So I'm one of the most like so fortunate. So he and I decided that he decided that he was comfortable prescribing me this T3 supplement that he wasn't used to prescribing. So then I went around. Number one, I wasn't in a remote area. I was in a fairly large city in the middle of Ontario, the middle of southern Ontario, and I had to go to a compounding pharmacy. It took me a little while to get this, and I got it filled, and it's a T3 supplement, synthetic T3. I went to go and fill it, and I was like, just let me know like what the price is first. You wouldn't believe the price. I didn't even commit it to memory. I didn't even want to know. So I said, I'm sorry. This is as far as I go with this. I'm not going to take this prescription. This is way too expensive. So I stuck with my Synthroid and levothyroxine. The thing about T3 is that it has a slightly different role in the body than T4 does. Now, I wish I knew that role better so I could elucidate that to you better. All I can say is that it looks at it, it helps with a different kind of metabolism, and it has a different potency. Both have, it's almost like you have like two people doing it. It's like two naturopaths having the same job, but they do it a little bit differently. And so one naturopath is going to spend an hour with you. Another naturopath is going to spend like 15 minutes with you, and you're both going to get a really good outcome. It's just that this person's job, their style is different than this person, but they both have a good way of doing it. It's kind of like the thyroid hormones. T4 is like the hour. T3, there's a lot less T3 in the body than T4. But to me, no less valuable. But at the same, so that's why I was exploring that, because I wanted to know how valuable, and I wanted to explore what T3 did to a body and how that experience was to actually have T3 in my body again, and what that actually felt like. So, looking back, I wonder if it would have been worth the money just to do that experiment. You know what I mean? So, whatever. What else have I done? I have never taken Armour Thyroid. That's one thing I've never done. Skip that part. So Armour Thyroid is one that my patients are on. A lot of my patients are taking Armour Thyroid instead of levothyroxine or Synthroid for their clinical hypothyroidism. It's excellent. They really like it. That's something they prefer. They've done their own experimentation over the years, and this is the one that works best for them. The thing about Armour Thyroid is it has both T3 and T4 in it, which is really cool. Someday I might try it. It doesn't have the standardization of a levothyroxine or a Synthroid, and that's why you might get hesitation from a medical doctor or a nurse practitioner about it. Some medical doctors and nurse practitioners really love it, and some just are not comfortable with it and don't have the experience with it. And the thing about it is it doesn't fit into the medical model quite as well as your Synthroid and your levothyroxine, okay? Your Armour Thyroid is not going to give you a specific, precise dosage every time you take a pill. It's going to be different. It's going to have a different absorption rate. It's going to have a different level of T3 and T4 in every pill, slightly. Okay, so it's not going to be as standardized and precise as the other one. But it's also more of a supplement than it is the other. The other is a more synthetic lab-created version, whereas your Armour Thyroid is actually a little bit more toward the natural side of things. Some people prefer it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing better or worse that I know of. It's just, it's personal preference is what it comes down to, really. So, what else? I took a non-prescription thyroid hormone supplement. It was pig's thyroid was what it was. When you get thyroid tissue, and you start to take thyroid tissue, it's kind of like taking adrenal tissue, right? Adrenal extract, sometimes they call it, thyroid extract. you're basically eating a part of an animal. So just so you know that. Some people are okay with that, some people aren't. So I was okay with it at the time and I took it. Number one, what I should have done is to check whether or not that came from a happy, healthy pig, because I probably should have taken that into consideration before taking something or somebody else's thyroid tissue. Is, do they have a good life? Because if not, and if they were really stressed out and unhealthy animal, and then I'm taking their thyroid tissue as a medicine, it's probably not gonna work as well. Or you might actually end up, like, even if you don't believe in the energy of things and energy imprints and chi and prana, even if that's not part of your language or your wheelhouse, think about it. Like, if I'm really sickly, like, and I got a bad heart, do you want a heart transplant? You want my heart? Or do you want somebody else's heart that's like had a really happy, good life and is really healthy and took care of themselves? Right? Same thing. And that's what we look at when we're taking these extracts from, things that are available in health food stores. Ask, did it come from a healthy, happy animal? That should be the very first thing you ask, or go research. Call the manufacturing company and ask, what's your sourcing? Where do you get this tissue? And what do you do with it once you get it? Hey, why not? Why not? It's our health after all. And nobody else has to suffer the consequences of our choice, of the choices that we make in our health, except us. And so why are we going to let someone else dictate to us what we're going to take? That's what I love about working with a naturopath, or reading health magazines, or doing your research yourself, asking questions, getting real critical about it. You know what I love most? The patients who come in who are really critical, not defensive, but willing to learn, but like have a really critical mind and ask those tough questions. Ask those tough questions, because you suffer the consequences of your bad decisions, not me, right? I'm just working with you. I'm guiding you. And I want to help you make good decisions that really work for you. And so maybe we'll find you a really good source of whatever it is you're looking for with my connections. So let's think about it. So back to my story. I made a bad decision and I suffered the consequence of my bad decision. I took myself off my thyroid medication because I had been on it for like a decade or something. And honestly, I was tired of it. I didn't want to do this the rest of my life. I was like, I want to see if I can heal myself. Let me just do this. And this shouldn't be, whatever. This is like right here, like, hello, it just says T3, T4. It's on the bottle. I'm going to take this non-prescription thyroid extract from this pig. And I did for a month and a half, maybe 2 months, completely off my Synthroid, my levothyroxine. Didn't really notice what was going on. Did my blood... checked my blood a month and a half, 2 months later after being off my prescription and onto my natural product, and it was as if I was taking nothing at all. Now, I believe that I took something that legitimately had T3 and T4 in it. I believe that supplement was a good supplement. It wasn't a good supplement for me because I had Hashimoto's. So I'm going to say that again. Because for those of you who are looking for alternatives to your medication, work with a doctor, work with a naturopath, or even if you are a naturopath, go work with another naturopath. Don't do it alone, because it's hard to be objective with yourself, right? This is what I did. I should have worked under the supervision of somebody else who knew just as much as me, if not more, about this situation, because it's hard to look objectively, because my desires got in the way. My desire to be off my medication got in the way. I did something reckless. And I basically ended up with a TSH of over 100 again. By the way, TSH above 4 is considered hypothyroidism. Mine was above 100. I got that bad. Yeah. I suffered the consequences of my bad decision. So what else was off? My anti-thyroid peroxidase was through the roof. And basically what I did is I compared my original lab test, which didn't have the anti-thyroid peroxidase, but my second one did. I checked those 2 original lab tests way back from like over a decade ago, and then I checked what I just got, and they were almost identical. My thyroid went back to where it was before I got medicated and treated for my hypothyroidism. Now in that state, that was kind of a dangerous state for me to be in. My cortisol would have been so high. When our thyroid is dysfunctioning that much, we're actually at risk of some adrenal dysfunctions, like severe adrenal dysfunctions, not just adrenal fatigue, but like myxedema, like bad. And you can see it in my face. Dang, I gotta keep more photographs. I had a photograph of it was just before I checked my blood to see where I was at. I was puffy, I was bloated, I was pale, my eyes were just sunk in. I wasn't sitting up straight. My belly was out to here. It wasn't all that fat. I think I was just really, really, really swollen. Not good. Your adrenals are suffering that bad that you're swollen that much. Things are not good. So I caught it in time, and I was protected from anything problematic going on. But that was my journey, and I didn't do it intelligently. I have had a couple of patients do it intelligently with me. Just look and see, do I really need my medication at this point in my life? Let me check. Let me look at this. And they let me monitor them through it. And I'm very forgiving with it. You know, I'm pretty, okay, well, we keep your medical doctor in the loop, but okay, it's this, it's this number, and that's okay with me, and keep going. Let's just see how far we get, but I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to, put my foot down at some point. These people did it intelligently. I did not. So once I get back on, I saw my results, and I went, ah! And I got right back on my thyroid medication, and I started feeling like myself again. And lesson learned, I've been on it ever since. Will I try something again another time? Probably. Will I do something reckless again? Probably, because that's just my personality. So now, what about other stuff? What about your supplements? Well, we're already at past 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to talk about the supplements later, but I want you to just really look at what I just talked about with the medications, because it's important. I hope you have a great day. See ya.